All right, episode 167, Jake on the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that sent us this amazing.
Yeah, y'all got it. That's great.
When they asked us
Okay.
what our address was, I was like, for what? I didn't know if we were gonna get some weird tax thing in the mail or something for going down there. But
No, genuine thanks.
that was
That was
such a thoughtful gift. We put it right up in the forefront of the office, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that was so much fun too. Thank you again for having us down. For you guys who don't know, listening, like Jake had us down to his annual charity golf tournament concert. This past was that October?
It was, yeah. First,
Everything went to hell.
Before everything went to hell.
And absolutely great time. We're not country club folks, but it was
you
fun.
guys did well. You hung in there well. It was good. You showed up for the golf tournament, and then you were bouncing around all weekend, so it was great.
I get it when I hear about people retiring to Florida. I never got it, right? Because I've been there, Fort Lauderdale, for a festival or whatever, but I never actually went to a town that was known for just kind of relaxing and being like, your parents still live there, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And it's just like calm and beautiful and great fried, like seafood everywhere.
Best fried shrimp we ever.
Like everything was so good, dude. Like, and just like the pace of life slows down. And I think during COVID right now for us in Chicago is like we're starting to realize like the big city type of thing. I'm on my way out. I'm gonna be moving to Colorado probably to live in the mountains more, and then we're gonna maybe relocate the headquarters there. But you start to kind of feel this. You want to be more nature, less people. Is kind of the way I. And over there, it was like perfect. It was everybody was chill. A lot of old people, obviously, but everybody was chill.
Yeah, it's called our town is Vero Beach, Florida, and growing up we used to call it Zero Beach because for those of us that grew up there really wasn't a whole lot going on. We had the Dodgers would spring train there in the spring, and then it was really like a lot of folks would come down and retire, and so it was kind of we made our own fun there. But you got to see the whole gist of our town, man. So I'm glad you guys came. It was super cool to have you, and it was our best year to date as far as money raised for our foundation, and especially with this year and everything happening obviously with this virus, we can't do our concert this year, so a lot of the money that we would usually raise with that and give back to our community is something we're missing this year. So it was a big deal for y'all to not only come last year, but thanks for bringing it up and talking about it now.
Drunk driving cart.
Yeah, I mean, like I felt like it was such like a fun weekend, and even like we said, it's not like country club life isn't for us, but we had a few cocktails and we just took a golf cart out around the course. And it's like the most beautiful golf course I've ever seen in my life. And I golf maybe once or twice a year. I'm not very good at it. I'm not nowhere near as good as you at it.
You're a professional, right?
Like you're
No, not hardly.
Wait, is Tony Romo a professional considered?
I mean, he's played in quite a few professional events, but
I don't understand how golf works with that shit.
You've done like pro-ams and stuff, right? Like,
I played the Pebble Beach Pro-Am each year, which is cool. I get to play with Jordan Spieth, Dustin Johnson. So when you get to be surrounded by those guys, it's fun to watch guys at their professional level do what they do, like on a totally different level than what you do, as an amateur golfer. But I kind of felt the same way. I remember when I first got my record deal and went out on tour with Kenny Chesney, and I was just like a kid, didn't know anything. I mean, I just had my band put together. All of us were just excited to be on a tour bus and to watch his whole like organization run professionally and then see him do it at a level. It's kind of like the same, like there's a difference between jumping from the bars to going here. It was pretty cool.
What's your just really quick and dirty advice to new golfers? One thing everybody should know, just real quick. What is it? How do I fix that slice, Jake? How do I fix that slice? I'm going hard right time.
I would say one thing that I think is not taught enough is most people think golf is a swing of the arms, right? Like you see a lot of golfers like really pick the club up quick and then swing hard at it down. Golf is like same as baseball, except instead of swinging at hip level, you're swinging with your leaning towards the ground. And if you notice in baseball, for those of y'all that are baseball fans, like all those guys sitting in baseball, it's such a turn of their body and then drive with their legs. And I don't think people use their lower body enough. Everybody's like very arm heavy. So I would say my big tip would be on your downswing, start your downswing with your hips and your legs more than your
hips before hands.
But also
right.
the drinking element, because obviously we drank, and then you're driving a golf cart, you're driving around, there's nobody around, it's just grass, and we're just going through the thing. But that's got to be most guys I know, they suck at golfing, but they like to go to drink and to do it with their buddies early on a Friday morning or a Saturday morning or whatever. You can't this isn't beer pong, right? You're not getting better the more you drink.
I don't know. That's the most undetermined answer to a question, I think, because there's been days where I have been absolutely hammered and played unbelievable. And then there's days where you're totally sober and you play terrible. So I think it's like the thing with alcohol in general is I think it lets you kind of not think about stuff so much. That's why people do stupid shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which is why I kind of had to give up the drinking. But
wait a minute.
Playing golf and drinking is good because
wait a minute.
All those things everybody thinks about in their head before they're like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Nobody thinks that when you're drinking. Because, like, you know, when you're drinking, you don't think about the things you shouldn't do. You just do it, right?
Do it. Extra smooth. I don't want my surgeon to be fucked up, but if I'm golfing with a guy, kind of, you know, you get loose. You can't play baseball if you're drunk, though. You play baseball. No.
You also don't want your surgeon being in a hurry because he has a tea time. You know?
Right. So are you not drinking anymore?
I really haven't. No, I've been using this quarantine to kind of get in the best shape I could possibly be in, you know, and kind of both, not just physically, but kind of mentally too, because for the last 12 years or more, 13 years, it's just been nonstop, man. Like you make a record, you go tour, you come home, you get excited for that, like Thanksgiving and Christmas kind of break, we would call it, because we're home, you know, during that time until we hit the road again in like late January, early February, which is what I did this year until everything got canceled. But just being home, man, it's been like an opportunity for me like I've never had to go to bed at a decent hour, you know, like wake up, go to sleep in my bed, wake up in my bed, like have a normal relationship with Erica and my daughters, and like not be the guy calling home all the time from the road and saying like, can't wait to see you in a couple of days. Like now it's incredible, man. It's been amazing just being home and having this time to focus on what's really important. Not to say that music isn't, but I think so many of us in this world that we live in, we chase this dream because we're like, what's next? What's next? What's next? And like, sometimes it's hard to stop for a minute and just look at what you have and the people in your life and the things that you're able to celebrate that we don't do enough. So I've been trying to do that.
Yeah, that's cool. I feel like there's been so much, and for good reason, like let's get back on the road. A lot of people in our crew and our team and stuff that we want to get paid. And touring obviously makes a lot of money for you guys and stuff, but it's kind of cool to hear your perspective of like, okay, well, let me reset and kind of look at things that matter, family, friends, kind of get back to ground zero. And then I imagine that probably helps you in the writing process and in the creation process where you can kind of get back to like, all right, let me just start at zero and go back to
I've been writing a lot lately, which has been great, over Zoom like this, because everybody's quarantining and still not really comfortable being around everyone. But I would say something I think has been really special for me that a lot of people out there might be able to relate to, being a single parent or sharing their children with their, you know, exes. My little girl, Pearl, who's 7 now, lives with her mom in Florida. And I see her every summer and have since she was little, but when we separated when she was 2. But this year, it really hit me because I've been home and she came and stayed with me for 30 straight days, you know, and I caught myself being excited that I have my own daughter for 30 days straight, because I've never had that in my life, dude. She's 7 years old. And it's because usually, you know, now as she's getting older, she has school now, so she has to be in school Monday through Friday, and then the weekends are tough just to travel one way or the other for her or myself for a day and a half before one of us has to get back for school, or dad's got to go back on the road. Or she loves it, don't get me wrong, being the kid that gets to come out and ride the bus with dad and do the rock star thing for a few days. But after a while too, like, name me any other kid that loves to go to work with their parents. You know what I mean? So like, what you look forward to are those summer vacations and things that always felt like for me was like, okay, I have 6 days that we can run off somewhere, but like on that 6th day, I got to drop her off, and then I got to get back to Des Moines, Iowa to play a show and make sure when I walk on stage that I'm like ready to go. And like, and you just have to go from like this life to this life really quickly. And it's been incredible, man. Like, to be able to every day be home and have her here and go on a walk with her. Just go, hey, Pearl, let's go walk the driveway and just talk about life. And then she tells me about things that I don't even know, you know, like certain birds and cardinals and why cardinals are a certain color, and like just things that completely change the way your mind works day to day. I've loved this time. It's been amazing.
I mean, that's great. And you seem extra vibrant, honestly. Like you seem to have a little bit of a.
Hey, thanks, man. You know, so do you guys.
I know. I mean,
how's life for you?
I had my first child 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Luckily, he started sleeping 12 hours a night when he was 7 weeks old.
Wow.
So I got lucky there. But I get this feeling too of like, you know, I want to get home. I don't want to get to the point of drinking where I have a hangover, because then I'm like not my best self, right? So even if it's the next morning, and I know I'm not going to see him again, he goes to bed at say 7, come home after a podcast, you start thinking differently. You're like, okay, I don't want this to carry over to the morning where I'm just kind of like walking around. I want to wake up at 5, 5:30, 6, wherever, and feel good and feel energetic and like crush the day.
Yeah.
Be the best there. But the podcast, it's hard not to drink.
Yeah, I hear you.
Do you have any temptation? You get it, you little, no?
Not really, man. I've never been a big drinker anyways. My problem is when I would drink, I would just let loose, you know, and just kind of turn into somebody that the following day I wasn't too proud of. And I just have kind of enjoyed like this newfound kind of, I feel obviously like this is a terrible experience that our world is dealing with right now. But there's a lot of beauty in it as well that I think that I've always tried to, throughout my whole career anyways, is try to see the positive things. My music's always tried to have a more positive outlook on life. But it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to every day be like, I'm the most positive guy in the world. That's not the truth. Like, I'm constantly at like battle with myself on how to be better and why I made certain decisions. And there's days I have meetings with people and I'll leave and I'll go, man, I didn't handle that the right way. I should probably call them and say, hey, hope you didn't take me that way. So anyway, I think part of it's me, like, just like getting more mature, more older, and having this time to do it. Like, it's one thing to tell yourself, I'm going to stop drinking and I'm going to be better and be more present for my family, but still like be out there in the midst of it all on the road, and somebody constantly at night being like, yo, you want to have a beer? And like, one beer doesn't hurt. And then it turns into 3 that night.
3, 4, 5.
Yeah, I like the shot.
I think Blake Schoen.
You know what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm honestly. So here's the thing: we had the baby during quarantine, so it was a really weird time to have a kid. So it was like I was even worried that I could be in the hospital when she was having the baby. So luckily, I was able to do that. But then you get home and you have those sleepless nights. And one morning, I just woke up. We were kind of just like delirious. We're sitting there, and I'm just like, I feel like I need to put bourbon in my coffee right now. Like, I just like so out of my mind from not sleeping. Right when the baby was just like every night, all night, obviously, you know. What it's
yeah, but get used to that. Not gonna go away.
I remember just sitting there and then like later in the day taking an edible and just being kind of like just mentally gone before bed. You get to that point where you're just kind of like, but I know after the fact, it's going to be bad. Like, you're going to feel worse. You're going to feel shittier and more tired. We still drink, but it's, as you get older, we're 32. I'm 32 now. He's 31. Even then, for me, I don't want to get that hangover. I don't want to take that extra drink and just be kind of like
terrible.
Next day. Yeah. That's the key. Not letting it get to that point of a few extra tequila shots. I don't know. You hang out with those Chive guys, and then you go to these like Bill Murray things. Like, how are you not?
I mean, how do you keep it? How does Jake keep it real?
I think that's where I've kind of found like my power in not is that it's hard not to. And so if you can be the guy that's not amongst everybody that is, like you're kind of like, I don't know, I look at it as like it's easy to just do what everybody else is doing and getting hammered. Don't get me wrong, I don't fault people for like to drink or whatever, and I still have a beer every now and then, but I just have found that where I am in my life right now, like I'm lucky to still have my parents, as that y'all met in Florida. And my dad,
your dad's the best.
Yeah, my dad beat cancer about 5 years ago, and my mom is just like an angel. And so it's just like a responsibility at this point for me to not only be a great father, but to spend these days that I'm lucky enough to spend right now with my family, and just kind of be the best person I could be, really. I've learned that it feels better to be better than it does to like worry about stuff. And I read actually, Tim McGraw wrote a book, and it's really, really great. And I recommend it to anybody. I even sent a copy to my mom. My mom was like, I'm not a musician. I don't know that this relates to me like the way it does to me. But I think what it does explain is that no matter who you are and where you are in life, you can always be better than you are. And I think if like we'll never be perfect, but if we can consistently try to be that way, I think it works out.
Speaking of not being perfect, there was some tweets that you sent out in support of. I'm not saying you're not perfect, but it was the whole situation was imperfect. The whole Chase Rice, Chris Jansen playing shows, doing all this stuff, and you kind of just made a nice statement in general for the country music community or music community in general.
Yeah,
it's a really, I think, way more complicated and way more in-depth subject than a lot of people like even let on. Or more people people read the headline and don't even actually read articles.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, that, and this is the first time that I've even addressed this since. But all I said in my tweet was, in a world full of hate, be a light. I said, if somebody does it wrong, make it right. I swear I've heard that on our country radio station. So I just feel like it's a little odd to me that we can jump on somebody else. And what I meant by that was, and I didn't call anyone out, although quite a few people that are friends of mine felt that I did. And again, as I told you guys a minute ago, as to try to be positive and try to be better. Like when it comes to that, and I've talked to everybody that felt as if I was targeting them. I like called them specifically and I said, hey, look, like this isn't about, I'm not supporting the fact that at the time I didn't ever say, I don't think it's wrong that Chase had a concert. Like I wasn't playing concerts. Nobody else was. So Chase and his people and the promoter and the 1,000 or more people that decided to go to that show, there are a lot of people that made the decision to make that happen. I'm not condoning that was a good decision because there's people out there that are trying to rectify and mitigate this virus. So that's one thing. What I was standing up for is my friend Chase, who's a good person. And you can't, and if anybody on earth, no matter if it's online or wherever, if your friend is getting attacked by his character, people were saying, what a terrible guy, screw this dude, I'll never listen to him again, blah, blah, like you stick up for your friends, do you not? So, and to this day, I didn't stick up for the fact that he made the decision to play that show, and I told him that. But I will always stick up for my friends when they're getting pounded by people. And it's also real easy to jump on board on hating people in this time in our life right now. But I really encourage people to find a way to reach out to those folks that they feel that way towards and maybe, talk to them privately about it. Like there's no need to involve everybody else out there to get people more. People are already riled up and pissed off. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just trying to find ways to just make everybody just kind of chill out a little bit. And you guys look like you got something going on. What do you got, like friggin' delivery, like DoorDash or something? You get delivering burritos or?
People are being loud by the little walkway right here. We share an office space.
Yeah, what's the office space like for you guys there? And
I think you'll enjoy it one day. Hopefully you can come.
Yeah, we would love to get you in sometime when this shit ends, but
yeah,
it's pretty cool. I think everybody who's been here, we've had Kip here, John Party here.
A lot of your buddies have been through. Chase has been here.
Chase actually brought us a bottle of Jack Daniels from his private barrel, which was a nice gift. We haven't gotten too many gifts. But
he was one of the only guys that brought us a gift actually when he came here.
And we cracked
See, he's a nice guy. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
That's
again,
true.
the guy,
He is one of the only people that have ever brought us a gift.
Yeah, I think
maybe the only.
maybe the only person. And we've had tons of people in here, but
I think that's a perfect example of the fact of like, did he make the wrong decision playing that show?
Whiskey Myers
Whiskey
put us in a suite opening for Rolling Stones at Soldier Field, so that's a good gift.
And you now have brought us to your hometown, so
Yeah, so you
retroactively, like you're in there too. But like you said about Chase, it's like at some point it's like, where does the responsibility fall on the artist versus the venue versus the promoters versus the label? Like, it's a balancing act for everybody, right? Like,
well, you're seeing the drive-in concerts, right? So are you entertaining this idea of doing a drive-in concert? A lot artists are starting to do that. Is that something you want to do? The whole, is that not something you just feel like that's like a Band-Aid for the temporary situation?
I think like I'm all about whatever makes fans happy, right? But I'm also all about keeping people safe until we figure out what this deal is. And I think we all know that there's ways to figure out ways around it and try to go play. But I mean, do you know how many people, that's the thing, like, you know how many people have called me in the last 6 weeks, like offering me money, cash, like under the table to come play their July 4th party or this or that. And like, I guess I could have been like, yeah, man, I'll do it. Like nobody will really know. But no, I'm not going to do that because I just don't, a lot like with the Chase thing, I think it's all of our responsibility as artists right now. Yes, it's hard, man. I've got every one of my guys that right now that no one's making money. I got guys in my band that have kids and wives and like, we're not making any money right now. So it's tough. And so, well, we're gonna be strong. We're gonna get through it together. And when we get out on the other side, it's gonna be awesome. But the last thing we need to do is prolong this any longer by getting out there and making some decisions that we shouldn't. Now, to answer your question about the drive-in, I think they're doing a good job of that, like they did here in Nashville this past weekend. Brian O'Connell is a great promoter with Live Nation. He's really being strategic on doing it. He is and always has been really about the fans. Like he's the guy that put together like Faster Horses Festival, which if you've been there, like you could incredible atmosphere, right? Like that's what people missed. We all missed that. We want to get back to that, but we're just trying to find smart ways to go about doing it. So I guess if the right thing came along, I would do it. But like as of now, I'm going to really use this time to make great music, write good songs, spend time with my family, and kind of do the things that I haven't been able to do.
I love that. Speaking of music, obviously the new video for Made For You just came out.
Yeah.
Great song. Homemade before that, another great song. That video was awesome. I love that. I love all of Jake. I love that you take chances and you do these things like an upbeat song where you're one of the few I don't want to say pop guys that can do a pop country song, a fun song, that can also tell you every Waylon Jennings song or Merle Haggard and do all these things. It's very rare to find that. Do you ever get tempted to do an entire body of work that's like the LAX type of song, that feel, that old school country that you love to cover at a show from here or time to time?
Oh, yeah, totally.
I mean, you do it already in your lives too. Like you play throwback.
Yeah. That's my favorite stuff, man. I mean, my favorite music is classic country music. And so that's why, like, when I see people label certain artists for, like, the type of music they make or whatnot, I always find that interesting because a lot of times, like, you haven't even seen or people haven't seen, like, all sides of that artist yet. And there's, like, different times in their career where it's okay to kind of branch out and do that. But what people don't understand – and that's why I'm a fan of everyone, man. You won't hear me knock anybody because each one of these people that's successful and has got to the point where you can even hear their song on the radio, like they've worked really hard to get there. And not only have they worked hard to get there, they've supported others around them and people's lives and careers and their families. And so even though, Chris Stapleton might be over here on this side of the fence in country music, and then you've got Dan and Shay over on this side of the fence with doing songs with Justin Bieber. You know, like they're all still played on the same radio station, and the same people are enjoying it, obviously. And so I'm all about everything. But yeah, I would love to put out an album that is strictly old school. At some point, I don't know that many.
Do it. Please.
Yeah, yeah, I will. I'll work on it.
Do you have any like deep cuts that you're like, I really wish people would have heard this song more? I mean, you've had a pretty decent career as far as, I mean, we got like 5, 6 records or so at this point. How many records you got?
We have it up right here, but I can't.
I think I just made my 6th, last.
Yeah, okay. So like, is there any like really deep cut that you're like, man, I wish everybody heard this song because this is like Jake at his best, or this is not even Jake at his best, but like this is something that was a great song that I wish more people heard. Because deep cuts is where I usually vibe on a record.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, you said one of them earlier. I mean, LAX to me is like one of my favorite songs I not only ever recorded, like for the sound of it, the feel of it, but the day I wrote it with my friend Andrew Dorff, who's passed away, bless his soul, and Nathan Chapman. It was like an interesting day because Nathan Chapman was a guy that I'd never really met before. And he came out on the road with me and Andrew. And it was just a real interesting like dynamic between the three of us. We're all so different. And but that's what music can do. Like we wrote that song in like 45 minutes, and it was great because I think it was Nathan who had the idea and said, man, I've been trying to write this song called LAX for a long time, but nobody really understands it. I want to use the title of like LAX as a theme.
Yeah.
And have it be about maybe your ex-girlfriend or something. I'm like, dude, I've got it. I got the storyline. I've been there. I've done this.
I know that girl.
Yeah. And so we did it. And that's a song that I think I really wish maybe could have seen the light of day at some point. It's a fan favorite, I think, for people. I don't know why, because it's not like, whoa, never gonna grow up, you know. But it's a cool song, man.
I think when anybody hears, like, I think fans, we have our finger on the pulse, I think, and we've seen it. The general population of young fans, we've seen start to gravitate towards that traditional sound the last few years. Like,
I mean, like
Jump Party, Luke Combs, whatever it is, or the Tyler Childers, if you're really talking about traditional stuff. It just became a thing where people were like, oh, no, I like Tyler Childers and Turnpike. I don't necessarily listen to Luke Bryan as much. We just started noticing that more. Like, we're like, oh, cool. Like, that's how we happen to listen to music. It just kind of seemed to jive with what we were already doing on the site. So then when we hear songs like LAX, we're kind of like, man, that's amazing.
Green Bananas.
Green Bananas was a great one from back in the day that we used to love too. Like, I still play that song, but
yeah, I wrote that tune with my friend Bob Reagan. That's a true story, actually.
It's a great country song, and the concept of it is brilliant, and just the message behind it, it's so good.
It's like top-notch country music songwriting.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
That's cool. Yeah, no, that was a true story, man. My buddy Bill Curley used to have a boat called Green Bananas, and he named it that because of his friend that passed away. Told him never to buy green bananas because you never know if he'll be around tomorrow or not. So live for today, basically.
Right. I mean, great message, though. Great message.
It's almost philosophical. It goes beyond
bananas. Goes beyond the actual buying bananas.
Even the
next time you buy bananas, you question your own life.
Right.
Even the umbrella thing is like, I never really carry an umbrella just because it's like so much of a pain in the ass. Like, I just don't like it. But like, if it rains, I'm gonna get wet. Like, whatever. Like, I just kind of always adopted that.
Yeah, and I don't buy green bananas because I don't plan that far ahead.
Yeah, like I just, man.
What's next? You said you were writing. Are you gonna start to kind of feel out the landscape of everything and maybe release songs one at a time, like a lot of people have been doing, or are you kind of trying to figure out if you want to kind of put everything together as an album and do that, or figuring it all out?
Man, I'm kind of like just rolling with the way things like feel, you know what I mean? I think that's just my demeanor. Like, I played golf today with some guys this morning, and
you play golf every day, by the way.
No, I really don't. I've just been playing a lot lately because I'm never home. So I've been enjoying being able to go out and like play on a men's day or something, you know, at the club, because I never get to do that. these guys were like, today they're like, dude, you don't really like seem to like take your time much, or you just kind of like get up and hit it and roll to the next. I'm like, yeah, it's my life. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to hit some shots perfect. And I figured that out. That's why I like golf. I think golf's always been the sport that I gravitate towards, because you're responsible for your score, and you're responsible for what you hit. Like, you can't blame it on anyone else. And there's going to be some shots that you hit absolutely perfect and they go exactly where you want them to. There's going to be some shots you just don't. And so what do? Do you sit there and mope over the fact that you hit a bad shot, or you just go and then go hit it again? And that's kind of life, man. Like, we're all going to miss our shots and opportunities. And like, there's been times like you asked about making records. It's like, I feel like I'm just going to keep doing what I do. And when when time is right, like, and everything feels good, then pull the trigger and put some music out. But I've enjoyed the landscape of our world right now, where we kind of can, like you said, you can put out a bunch of songs at once, or you can put them out one at a time. Wish I had an answer for you, but
it's all right.
Well, you play that one things I take for granted, or things we take for granted.
Yeah,
it was mentioned both ways, but like, I felt like people really vibed with that, and they were like, "Shit, like, this is a good song."
I had a lot of people reach out to me about that. That was crazy.
Is that the kind of thing you would like jump in a studio with really quick and put it out given the time, or is it more like, this is just what's happened? Like, let's kind of, it is what it is at the moment. Let me share it live, and then.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote that song like maybe the first or second week. Everybody was home for quarantine, and we were Zoom writing, and we were sitting there talking about it, and I was like, dude, how much have we all taken for granted the fact that we can just hop in our cars and go downtown and drink some coffee in the morning, kind of BS about what's going on in our lives till somebody has something that they say goes, ooh, that's a cool idea for a song, and then write it, right? I said, here we are, like, over the internet now trying to write a song. And I said, but I said this morning I woke up and I was looking at my little girl, and I realized that, like, sometimes we all do that. We just take for granted their little smile or just being home. And then we wrote it. And then I kind of sat there for a month or two and never did anything with it. And I hadn't posted anything in a while. I was like, I guess we probably should post something and stay relevant, And I posted that song, and it was just like people went crazy for that. And so I don't know, maybe I should.
Great message.
Yeah.
I mean,
great message.
Like, Luke did the 6 feet apart thing that really hit off with, like, people really reviving that. I keep saying vibing that, which I never fucking say, so I don't know why I'm saying that.
You're drinking so much white wine.
So much white wine. But like, he ran into the studio and got that out really quick, and I feel like that would be the kind of song that if he just dropped on Spotify on a random Friday, or maybe gave Whiskey Riff an exclusive, I don't know, that would be probably good.
Why not?
Yeah. Hey, I'll record it. You guys can have an exclusive and drop it. That'd be cool, man.
Or maybe at the end of this, performance too. But I wanted to ask you a question about the golf that you brought up. We're talking about this. I never really played golf. Obviously, it's a sport. I've seen haters of golf say it's not a sport for the one reason you mentioned, because what did they say? When the opposition can affect the way you play, it's not a sport. That's a pretty interesting statement, because it's hard.
When opposition what can't affect the way you play?
Right. There's no defense. There's no nothing. It's just you doing your best at that thing, and then the other person doing their best at that same thing, and then it's just like a line. So, like, according to that, I wish I had who said that. Bowling wouldn't be a sport. Obviously, darts wouldn't be a sport. Certain things like that. I'm not trying to shit on golfing.
No. That's just a stupid conversation, because, like, that's like people that say that person's not country music and this is right. Like, who cares what people think?
Yeah,
I don't.
I mean, I think we should do a thing where we as terrible golfers, we have to all get. Me and him at least get liquored up, and you take us out on the golf course. You teach us and you show us the proper way to golf, because we're not good at it.
Well, the thing is, I grew up on 7 acres, so I would just hit balls across the property.
That was the end of the game.
And there was no like target. I just would hit them a lot, and then I would go back, get on the 4-wheeler, go find the ball, hit them back, and then So I got a little bit of practice. Like
where I grew up, we would sneak into a golf range, and then we would get our aluminum baseball bats, and we would just see how far we could hit because we couldn't afford to get into the golf range, so we would just hit the aluminum bat, hit the golf balls, and just like send them flying. But I mean, if you want to teach us how to golf, let's do it.
I was just looking at the PGA Tour 2020 money list. Justin Thomas is leading. He's played 12 times, and he's made $6 million this year. So, I mean, you figure you divide 6 million by 12, and that's what he's getting every time he's teeing it up.
Here's my question to you.
That's a pretty cool sport, I think.
Is poker a sport?
Is poker a sport?
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume so. Yeah. I mean, it takes talent to play. Like, not everybody can play it. You got to practice. Anything you have to practice to be better at. And is there luck of the draw with cards? Yeah. Is there luck in football? Yeah. Like, is there luck in anything else? Yeah. I don't know. I just think anything.
I would say golf is the hardest thing I've ever done. Like, it's. Yeah.
That's why people say it's not a sport. Like, because they're pissed they can't play it.
I've served.
I think I got you fired up because I put this quote.
You did. Take the best athletes in the world, dude. Like, I don't care. Name one. Take LeBron James. Like, okay, he's good at basketball. Great. Awesome. But, like, let's see him hit a golf ball. Let's see him go break 100 on a golf course. But, like, that's why it's important.
But Tiger Woods could probably hit some jumpers because
I guarantee you Tiger Woods can freaking do a little switch up. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he's going to beat LeBron James, but he can still shoot a basketball.
Yeah.
Or some really, really great golfers are going to be able to find their way to hit a baseball pretty quickly.
Yeah. Right? Like,
because the body's there.
I'm all about. It's interesting because when I go play that.
I thought that might piss you off, so that's why I wanted that.
Oh, you didn't make me mad. It's just funny to watch, like, all these guys at Pebble Beach Pro-Am every year, from Aaron Rodgers to. Like some of the greatest athletes ever, and they'll tell you like that golf is so
hard.
It's hard. It's
really
like
fucking hard.
You work your whole life at trying to be better at it, and you're never fully satisfied.
Golf. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
You've seen it, obviously. Charles Barkley's golf swing. It's just like an all-time legend.
But that's what I'm saying. It's interesting to see these guys who are so athletic. You can't look at these guys and not be like, that guy is an athlete.
Yeah.
But sometimes you watch an athlete swing a golf club, and you're like, that does not look athletic. You know?
Wait, he's wearing the hat. When he posted this photo of golfing and that, remember that all the comments were like, what were they saying?
About my grip?
Yeah, like. He posted a photo for this hat. When we got this hat finally made, it was just like a baseball-style cap.
I was in Nashville, and I was wearing this hat at my sister's wedding, of all places. And my sister lives in Nashville. And we went I had like an hour to kill or 2 hours, so I went to a driving range in Nashville. And
Top Golf?
No, I was a little bit out of town, like near Bellevue, or maybe even a little bit farther. And
I knew where you were. I've been to that driving range.
But I'm just like, I'm not a golfer. Like, I play maybe once or twice a year, and it's a great time as always. And I have so much respect for guys who do it well, because I don't. And even my brother-in-law is great at it, and my father-in-law is pretty good at it. And I'm like, fuck you guys. Like, I'm just like, but I posted a picture because it was more about the hat. I'm like, all right, I'm golfing, brand new hat, Whiskey Riff hat. Let's get a picture. And people were like, oh, your grip. Like, what kind of fucking grip is that?
Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I'm just like,
yeah.
What you were just like spread out?
I mean, I thought I had it right, but like.
It was a disaster. We
didn't
need you there.
Like, I'll send you the picture later, and you can tell me.
But golfers seem to be that type. I think that's part of the problem. Is a lot of people get this vibe of like you pretentious prick. Like, you're gonna tell this.
But it's such a skill though that.
Right. It's so skill focused. But I think poker is. So that's why I mentioned poker. Poker's like, in my opinion, like 5% luck. Yeah. You know, it's just like it's so minuscule. The luck is so little based on like if you win or lose. In my opinion, it's all about all the other stuff. So I don't know.
Playing the right cards at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to be smart. What are you excited about now, and what you're hearing in music, your buddies out here, what's going on? Anybody you're
who are you really digging right now?
Other than the great music you put on your new single "Made for You," which I brought up.
I appreciate it, man. I don't know. Every time I hear something new on the radio that catches my ear, like I'm always intrigued because I love the way that it's interesting. Because for a while, I always felt like a new guy still trying to make it into the other side of like, oh, we know who he is, and I finally made it. I feel like to that point. But then there's a weird feeling where you also feel like you're not the new guy anymore. And there's other new guys and new girls. And that's what's cool is that the first tour I ever went out on was Kenny Chesney. And then quickly right after Kenny Chesney, I was out on tour with, and I played there in Chicago. At the time, I believe it was the Best Buy Amphitheater. And I played with Brooks and Dunn and Alan Jackson.
Oh, fuck me sideways.
Yeah, and so
literally,
think about that. Like, I was just the opening act, and then Brooks and Dunn played, and then Alan Jackson played, and I bet they were probably like, "Who is this kid? Like, what does he do?" You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't like Alan standing there playing, just doing that. I was running around, and I'm sure Alan was like, "Oh man, what is happening to country music?" And now I look and I think like how much country's changed, even from like people have gotten to the point now where like my music too is reminiscent. Like for instance, Barefoot Blue Jean Night, which was like my first breakout big song, was 2012, so 8 years ago. So that kid that was 8 years old is now 16, man. He's like, when you're 16, you're in a different part of your life than you were when you were right? When you were 20, you're in a different part of your life than you are when you're 28. And so even 8 years doesn't sound like a long time, but a lot can happen in that time. And so I don't know. I like anybody that's pushing the envelope. I really like that Ingrid Andress. I think she's great.
Yeah. More Hearts Than Mine is one of the best songs I've ever heard.
Yeah, so good. I actually did played her song "More Hearts Than Mine" on. I did a Bobby Bones thing, and they always want you to play a cover, and I was just into that song, and so I played that, and I thought that was pretty cool. But shoot, I don't know. Like I love that Travis Denning new tune that was out. I just like his voice. He's a good kid, amazing guitar player. Like
really kid, yeah.
I'm trying to think. Oh, dude, I'll be really honest, and it has nothing to do with me because I like helped find. Unreal, like
Larry Fleet. Go on now.
I feel like I'm not gonna boast.
I'm telling you, man, Larry Fleet.
We discovered it because of you. We discovered him because of you, but
he's unbelievable. Right?
Posted about him like we have, and every time we post about him now, it goes this way, just all the way up.
Dude, people love him because I fell in love with him. He's just so authentic. He's so real. His songs are real songs about like working man. Like
working man.
Listen, he's not trying to sing about like fantasy stuff. Like
no, here's my test. Sometimes is I took his acoustic version, I think, of Working Man that's on YouTube, and my wife's dad, who's a Bulgarian guy who loves country music, but he's born in Bulgaria. And he loves country music. He loves Chris Stapleton. He can sing pretty well actually too. So at my wedding, got drunk in Croatia and started singing Chris Stapleton. But so I just texted him Larry Fleet Working Man. I go, listen to this. Just tell me what you think. He goes, wow, amazing. Just had a glass of scotch and listened to it. So when he says that to me is a huge barometer of you take the bullshit aside and like it's legit, real deal, fucking great country music.
And the other thing too is that Drake White cut mixed them with whiskey.
Oh right, who's amazing by the way.
We love Drake to death. Like guy's fucking amazing. But we had a few comments, like actually probably a lot of comments. Like I like Larry Fleet more. I like Larry Fleet's version more. I like Larry Fleet. Yeah,
everybody was saying that shit.
You should hear Larry Fleet sing this. And I was like,
we're like, no, we have. We posted that. We have heard it. We've seen it live too at the fucking golf course.
Like,
I think he was playing that at the golf course.
I remember hearing him and I was like, man,
he's amazing.
How did you find him, or how did that whole thing happen? Because that guy to me is that's what country music is all about. Like,
and that's what I think too. He's a breath of fresh air too for a lot of listeners out there that miss what he's singing about. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's so yeah. I found him. I mean, I went to a wedding, a friend of mine, an after party. He's like, hey, this guy's playing. He's pretty good. You know, come check him out and have a beer. So I went out there, and when I was walking up, I just heard the guy's voice like through the barn, you know, and I thought, man, who's this guy? And then I watched him for a while, and I walked up afterwards and said, hey, man, I'm Jake, and you're great. And I just was kind of seeing what's going on with you because I'd love to help you any way I can. And he's like, oh, man, you know, I've tried it for a while, but I didn't really get anywhere. And I live in Chattanooga now, and I'm inspecting houses. And his dad's in the concrete business. He pours concrete. And so he's like, I've kind of bounced back and forth from pouring concrete to now I'm doing inspecting houses. I'm married, and you know, his wife. He's like, it's kind of hard to try to chase his dream anymore. And I said, dude, I'll be really honest with you. I said, I do this for a living, and I wish that I could sing like you. And I said, I don't have a magic key or anything, but I have been in the business long enough where I know the right people. And if you can get in front of these people and just do what you do, I'd love to help you. So call me sometime. And it was like a week later, he called me. We kind of hung out, and then I introduced him to a few people. And next thing you know, he's got a record deal. He's got song, and I mean, and it's changed his life. And so I'm really proud of him, and more importantly, he's just a great human being. And so
great dude, yeah.
I'm excited. So thank you guys for being supportive of old Larry Fleet.
We had him on a Facebook Live performance, and like
crushed it.
Fucking murdered it, like absolutely.
Yeah,
everybody's like, people that don't.
Oh my god, who's this guy?
Well,
like,
the test for me is always, like I said, like people that don't know who he is. When you hear somebody for the first time,
whoa,
oh wait,
shit.
You cut it off. I was gonna ask about your hair.
Yeah, I took it all off, man. Check that out.
You went blonde for a little minute, right?
Yes, I posted a picture of it. Somebody thought it was gray. Let's get something straight. I'm not gray. It's just so short it looks gray.
I got pee real quick.
I don't have any gray, man.
Did you do a little bit of like blonde tips at one point or something like that?
Yeah, I dyed the top blonde. My little girl said, Dad, you won't do that. I was like, I'll do that. I have 0 shows coming up. Why not? Yeah. And it looked pretty ridiculous. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to fix it. And then that looked ridiculous. And so I just said, I'll just cut it off.
Well, I was wondering what you had under the hat for a minute. I'm like, I don't see Jake in hats too often.
You'd never see me in a hat, man. But
like,
check me out.
Whoa, oh shit, man! Like, I mean, I remember Jake back in the Flow and the Yeehaw days, and
yeah,
man.
And you got to go through your moments of life. You got to do different things. Did he really just get up to go to the bathroom in the middle of this interview or podcast?
Yeah, I mean, we do it for a long time. Sometimes you gotta just piss and you gotta keep going. And
right on.
I mean, if you got to go ahead, we'll just keep going.
No, man, it's all good. I'll save it for later.
Yeah. How you been, man? Though you been good? Like, is this?
Yeah, I've been great, man. I mean, I have 0 complaints. I'm just really trying to figure it all out, I guess, like everybody else. I've even had other buddies of mine call me, and they're like, "Man, what are you like? What are you doing with like your crew and your band, and how do we do this together?" Like, because all of us want what's the best for our people that help us be great, but it's really hard as well to figure out how to, you know, you see so many even major companies laying people off, and the difference is like our businesses that we're running as artists, we have this like personal relation. Maybe the guy in these large companies that's laying off so-and-so in some area of the country doesn't even know that person. They don't sleep on a bus and wake up in the morning and, you know, like, you know, travel the country together. So it's been hard to get to a point where we're like, man, we have to do what's best for all of us right now. We can't, you know, so it's been interesting, but other than that, man, it's all good. I think we're all getting through it together. It'll be all good.
You still got that Malibu?
Oh yeah. I got another one coming here at the end of the month, hopefully. So, but it's nice, man. We got to get you out on the Malibu for sure. Shout out Malibu Boats. They're awesome people.
Yeah. One of our buddies has one here, and it's like, I'm not a great wake surfer at all, but like, I would love to, like, it'd be fun to get down to Tennessee and do a little bit of that with you. And
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Anytime. Y'all come on.
Before you play a song to close us out, do you want to talk about a little of the new video you did for the new single. It's a very personal video for Made for You.
Yeah, man. Well, I decided that I feel like everybody has their own story for Made for You, because ever since I started playing the song out on the road, everybody told me how they like, this is the song that my boyfriend asked me to marry him to, or it's going to be at our wedding. And then
I mean, I thought about it for a second, not gonna lie. I got married in February, so we're talking five
You
months
thought
ago.
about it, but you didn't do it. Fuck.
I didn't. I went with Tyler Childers, man. Sorry.
that's okay, man. He's good.
It was in there though. It was in there.
Oh shit! You had a snafu with him. I just remembered that. Is that okay if I bring that up?
You can if you want. I mean, I don't really care.
I mean, it was kind of a ridiculous, funny thing.
No, I was playing his song. I was playing at this bar. I did a Bud Light dive bar tour, and I was playing all kinds of people's songs, quite frankly. I mean, and I messed up a lyric to one of his songs or whatever, and he made a comment on Twitter like, "Hey, nice try, this up-and-comer Jake Owen or whatever." And I'm just like, "Hey, bro, like."
But do you get a little bit? I think you do, because you're a big name. Like that, some of these guys have.
Let me pause you for a second. You got me confused with someone who cares. I could care less, dude. What I do affects nothing of what he does or anyone does, and what he does doesn't affect me. But I will tell you this: like, there's lots of guys that I love their music that I think are complete jerks. Like, and like, I'm not saying that he is or isn't there, but there's lots of guys out there like that. That you can have great. Like, to me, music doesn't define the person behind it that's making it. Right. The person behind it that's making it defines the person.
You can make a lot of great music, and if you're still an asshole, you're still an asshole at the end of the day.
Yeah, but like, dude, like we're again.
I think Tyler is or isn't, but I know.
Awesome, dude. Like, it actually. I was like, maybe he was just being snarky. I don't know, but like.
But sometimes you don't even understand with like tweeting, and that's what I hate about Twitter. The Twitter mob and like the Twitter, like the thing about Twitter is like you can't ever for sure know what the intention is until it breaks out, and then it just becomes a thing, and then you're fucked, and then it becomes this whole thing, as you learned, and as a big name that's through the years is, I mean, we've seen it too with random ass shit that we've gotten. Like the Twitter mob is a real thing. But
I'd rather be a guy that I respect people that have their thoughts and like want to go off on what is and isn't country music and tell you like but I don't know that gets you anywhere, you know? I mean, like I've just never found that like by putting someone else down helps you get any further than where you are, right? But I also have seen in my life and career that by helping other people and telling people about how great they are, like helps with positivity, you know? Like I remember Keith Urban. I was on tour with him actually 2011. I have a really cool guitar on my wall over here that he signed for me, and he was like incredible human being to be around, because a lot of people know this, that back years ago Keith battled with his own addiction problem and things like that, and he got completely sober. He had a life coach out on the road with him back there when I was out on the road. It was just he and I for a whole summer, and he was always so genuine to me. And when it comes to musicians and people that know music and can play you any song and play it to a T and then better, because he's incredible. Like, it doesn't get much better than Keith Urban. People might not, some people out there that are true traditionalists might say that Keith Urban, and he'd admit too, like he makes some cool pop sounding records, but Keith Urban could play circles around 99.99% of any guitar player, much less anyone in country music. And he could play you every Glenn Campbell song to Don Williams to whatever. So again, like sometimes the music people make doesn't necessarily represent the kind of background they have within that genre of music. But what he told me on tour with him was one day was, he's like, Jake, and this was in 2011. Think of what we're dealing with right now. Right. He said, Jake, in a world full of negativity, it's so easy for people to jump on board and talk about the things that they don't like. It's easy to talk about things you don't like. But he said, what I find positive is when someone comes to me and they just tell me about something that they like. You know what I'm saying? And so and he said that because I gave him some CDs of stuff I enjoyed, thought he would enjoy it, like thought they were cool records. And he told me how how much he appreciated it, because he said, look, not a lot of people in life start your day with like, hey, here's something that's really cool. What do you think of it?
Right.
Getting back to what we originally started talking about when you mentioned using Tyler Childers at your wedding. That's awesome because he's a great artist. And the whole reason that I played his song that night at that place in Kentucky is because why? Because I thought he was a great artist and I thought he was awesome. And the next thing I know, he just felt the need to tweet at me as if like I screwed his song up or something. So instead of being like, hey, man, and getting mad at him, I was just like, hey, bud, that's your take on it. You just won't see me playing a Tyler Childers song at my show anymore. So, and I'm sure it doesn't bother him at all, but I just try to be nice and cool to people, man. And if you don't want to be that way, then I'll make other friends. It's all good.
I think one things we talk about, we've talked about on a podcast sometimes in country music, at least in the mainstream element, which we like mainstream as in the major labels, is there seems to be this overly kumbaya. It almost seems to us like a lot of times like artists, they're all buddies. They don't tell each other like, hey, everybody says everything's amazing. Everything's amazing. Everything's so amazing. Everything's so good. Everything's amazing. When we know the majority of a lot of this mainstream stuff, at least in our opinion, is not amazing. A lot of it got watered down, at least for the last 7 years, like the cycles. So you've done a great job of kind of where you creatively want to do shit, you do it. LAX or this or that, these songs that find their ways into albums, or these albums, these
even down to the honky tonk.
Yeah, but I feel like there's this overwhelming element of sometimes in the mainstream of country music that part of the reason we just stopped dealing with Nashville altogether is like everything has to be amazing. Everything has to be amazing. It's like, no, we think a lot of it is not amazing, and we actually want to just promote stuff that we actually think sounds great, and we like the people too, type of thing. I love the positivity, and I would never ask for you to like talk shit about anybody, but for us, more as our livelihood is based on our opinion, basically. So it's just kind of like, okay, we want to say this guy's chasing money because we've met him and we know. I'm not pointing this at a person, but I know this motherfucker is chasing money.
Right.
Like we've met people like that. So it's just kind of like we become jaded in that world, and then we go, fuck this. Thank God we're not living in Nashville. We got to deal with this shit all the time. And then we can sit down here and focus and put our heads down and work and do our own thing. And the next thing you know, you flip a switch with no corporate backing, in my opinion, obviously. Not really an opinion. We're the biggest country music site or brand there is. It's because we're honest. You know, it just
yeah.
That's why we've always liked you. You're just like a normal, cool dude.
Straight shooter type of guy.
You just say your fucking opinion. Even Tyler, I think he replied back to you being like, oh, no hard feelings or whatever.
Have you guys had him on your show?
No, we never talked to him. We don't even know.
Why not?
We've tried. That's our thing.
Oh, weird. He doesn't want to be on your show? You guys are too pop country.
Here's the thing, right? So it's just like, at what point do you get to the point where there's certain artists that just don't do that shit? Don't do the song and dance. I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that Eric Church doesn't do that with almost anybody. Never has, really. Really never has, right? Miranda Lambert doesn't go on late night shows, does she?
I mean, I don't know, man, but like I think everybody's got like their own thing they do, and they're who they are.
It's just conviction. I just love when there's authenticity and conviction. The reason Thomas Rhett doesn't like us is because we just say like, hey man, like we don't like your new stuff. And then I give him credit because he gets the joke. So he posted on Instagram stories. I don't know if you ever saw this, but he was like, he goes, oh my God, Whiskey Riff finally likes the song. Cause he posted a great acoustic song on his Instagram, and he posted it. And he goes, finally Whiskey Riff likes the song. I said, we loved Thomas Rhett back in the day, but then we felt like it just kind of went down this path of like, I don't know, like this, whatever, dude. If you like that, just go that way. Okay. But we have the right also to say we don't like it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, same way. Yeah. Everybody has their opinion. My dad always said, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. Right. And,
but if you build
and there's an ass for every seat is what my dad used to say as well. And so
caveat, yeah.
Like, man, I'm always intrigued by things that I don't know about. And then the ones that I do know about that I, maybe I think the better term for me is like gravitate. Like don't get me wrong, there's tons of music that I hear played that I'm not like, I don't gravitate towards, but I don't also feel the need to tell people why I don't like it. You know, like, I've noticed in life in general, when you start talking about things that aren't positive, like it doesn't do well for your own life. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're right. Like y'all's shows based upon talking about people and what you like and don't like. And I'm sure too, I'm one of them, self-admittingly. Like I see where you guys are, and I'm thankful for it. Like you guys are very supportive of my career and stuff, you know, and I feel like a lot of that hopefully is because of hopefully great music I made, but we become friends. I know you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's other artists out there probably that are like, why don't I get love like that? You know? And
well, we've met artists that are total pieces of shit. Like, I'll be honest with you. So it's just like, okay, I don't like, all of a sudden now I don't like your music as much. That's just, that's a human element to unfortunate element of what we do. Is where if we meet somebody and we just go like, man, you fucking suck.
Well, and I would also say, like, to what you said, like, I think we've even told people who just like shit on people for years, we're like, it serves you much better to just talk about artists you actually like. And I think we've tried to do that as much as possible. Like, it serves you much better for them.
Zach Brown is too easy to not fucking attack. That's just too easy for us not to.
Yeah.
Because we grew up listening to Zach Brown in college, and then all of a sudden now it's like, what the fuck?
And I still think Zach Brown is one of the most talented artists in country music. I think he's a great vocalist. I think he's a phenomenal songwriter. Didn't enjoy his last record at all. Don't enjoy him rapping at all. But, and I'll let him know that. But if, at the same time, he came out with that song, what's the last one? I don't know. Is his last single, his new single right now is a good song.
Oh yeah. And he said the one about his dad and everything.
Quintessential Zach Brown, and
so it's like,
okay, yeah, like that's.
We have to just be honest sometimes, and sometimes I don't want it to come off as like going after anybody. I love your approach to like positivity, because it's like in my personal life, that's all we've like tried to like focus on is like I meditate, I fucking do these things, and like I do all these things. And it's like when I lock into work, which is like the minute I wake up and I start looking through my phone, I just get upset. I start seeing shit on Twitter. I start seeing what people are saying. And then I just say, ugh. And then it just, all day, it just starts building and building. And I go, fuck this. And then finally you have a breaking point sometimes where it's just like, motherfucker, you're rich, you're a millionaire, you're writing these songs, and like, I think they suck balls. My job is based on my opinion. That's how I make a living. So like, I'm just gonna like, I'm not gonna shit on you or your family. I'm just gonna shit on what I think is not the best. I don't know. It's a weird world though, Jake. Like, it's a weird world where it's like, you want to give people the creative freedom to like have opinions, but you don't want to.
And nobody owes us or anybody anything.
No.
I don't think an artist owes anybody anything.
No. You don't. Nobody does that.
They completely have the ability to make the music that they want to, and they don't owe anybody anything. And I firmly agree with that. But
anyways, deep conversation.
Yeah,
I don't know.
just got like. Yeah.
Do you want to end this with an acoustic performance, or what do you think of a
sure,
song?
Man. Sure, I'd love to.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Oh, I just happen to have a guitar right here.
Oh, there it is.
It's like what's the Will Ferrell movie? He pulls the flute out of his.
A flute, a Yaz flute.
With the.
I'm not ready. And then he pulls it out of his sleeve.
Yeah. He goes, "Oh, I wasn't ready for this."
The Anchorman.
Anchorman.
I've been playing this song a lot, man, since I've been home. And what's interesting is one of my favorite albums. I told you earlier, Alan Jackson. One of my favorite albums of his when I was a kid was his first greatest hits album. And it had a bunch of random songs on there that weren't ever actual hits. There were songs where you were like, whoa, I didn't ever hear that one. And for some reason, I used to love this song. This was before I was a kid, man. I wasn't a touring artist or nothing. I didn't have little girls. But I'll never forget, like, when I just hear this chorus, I was like, whoa, what would it be like to be an artist? Well, now here I am traveling the world and country and having had open shows for Alan, this song makes so much more sense to me now. And
Are you gonna play Drive?
no, I'll play a song you might not know called Job Description.
Oh, okay.
It goes, well, I know sometimes you find it hard to understand just what we do out here. That bus rolls up at home and I disappear. And I sure don't like to leave you. I couldn't stand for you to think that I don't care. So I wrote this job description to tell you what I do when I'm not there.
Hard out, haters.
I sleep 80 miles an hour to the whining of a diesel down the interstate, dreaming about my little girls and the easy chair that sits beside the fireplace. And then we shut her down in another town. We shower up and do just what we came to do. Sing for the people, count the money and the miles back home to you. How good is that?
Hey, come on. Go on now.
Well, each night I take the stage with a 6-piece band and a guitar in my hand, singing songs about my life, all the good times and the bad. And we say goodbye and load it up and go somewhere that I've already been. Hell yeah, that's a good line, man. And I lay down in that double bed alone and I thank the Lord again. I sleep 80 miles an hour to the whining of a diesel down the interstate, dreaming about my little girls and the easy chair that sits beside the fireplace. And then we shut her down in another town, shower up and do just what we came to do. Sing for the people, count the money and the miles back home to you. That's a pretty awesome song, man.
That had to have meant more to you with that whole daughters line, right?
Yeah, man, but like also you don't think about it. Like you said, I sleep 80 miles an hour to the whining of a diesel down the interstate. Man, like you don't know what that's like until you do. Like every night when you lay your head down, like you hear that diesel engine, wah, 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 like the bus going, stopping for fuel. Like it's hard to sleep on a road. And then when you lay your head down at night, most people that go to bed like their bed is not moving 80 miles an hour, 75 miles an hour. And so your life is in the hands every night when you lay your head down. Your life is in the hands of that guy at the steering wheel or some other idiot driving down the road that might be drunk or might be.
Yeah.
And so there's a definitive, what's the word I'm trying to think of? Almost like anxiety sometimes to like going to sleep even at night. Like you're so tired and you're worn out, but like you're going to that next town. And that's the thing too, is like, man, you don't know how many times I've been, and that's another reason I'm trying to get in the best shape and health in my life. Like, you know how many times I've been on the road and been in a meet and greet and like somebody's come up to me in my meet and greet, they're like, you look tired. And I want to be like, cause I am. I'm dead tired. I didn't sleep at all last night. You know, like, but you have to always put on this whole show that you feel amazing. The world is great. Like you're supposed to vanity. You're supposed to look good because like
you're like an angel from heaven just ascending down into this bar venue that you're
with this shit hanging above your head.
Yeah, man. I mean, my whole goal is to, every time I go on the road, is to never have somebody ever think that I did it just dialing it in. You know, like I want to be there, and that night that I'm there in their town, that they've waited for me to come, that they've bought a ticket to see me. I want them to say, wow, that guy gave us everything he's got. And sometimes everything I got, honestly, isn't 100%. Like I don't have 100 sometimes. And so, but if all I got is 85 or 90, I'll give it to you.
I will say this one thing. You came to Chicago for a surprise show at Joe's Bar. Maybe when the hell was that? 2015? Something like that? 14? Maybe 2014? And you did a surprise show at Joe's Bar in Chicago. We were both there. And we said, hey, we have this idea for a country music website that's going to be...
You may not remember this. I don't know.
I remember.
It's going to be... We're like, it's going to be pretty... You know, in your face. We're gonna have opinions. It's gonna be vocal. And you were like,
you got us Patron shots.
You got us some Patron shots. We did a Patron shot with you, and you said, you guys should do it. You guys should do it.
Yeah.
So you were the first person that ever encouraged us to go, because let's be honest,
It was
a lot of those. Let's be honest, a lot of those fucks come up to you and say the same shit, and don't actually do it.
Crack me up, man. Like,
they don't actually do it, but they don't actually do it. They don't actually put the work in.
Who's your demographic of your, like, do you care who it is? Like, who's your demographic?
I mean, we know, like, we knew because of, like, even our background, like, who you were friends with the Tribe guys. And, like, I knew, like, our followers were college. So when we started this, I just turned 32 last month. So, like, I was 26 or so, 27. So I knew, like, it was 20s, 30s, people that didn't have an outlet, that loved country music, that they grew up on 90s country music, that loved just, like, the fun. Like, yeah, I drink fucking shitty beer on Saturday, and I listen to country music, but I love Alan Jackson. But I
know the old stuff, but I like the new stuff,
yeah, like,
and I can find a way.
That was kind of the whole thing with us was, like, how has nobody done this? And still to this day, they could try to copy us now, and they fail at it, like the big names. So for us, it was like, for you to say that, I still have that photo. I still have that picture.
I have that photo.
It's like a selfie from up here.
You got the long hair.
you got the old Jake hair. I have to thank you for that, because you really kind of made us go, oh, okay, like, yeah, like, fuck it, let's do it. I went and bought the domain, and, like, we went to a Cubs game, got fucked up, I bought the domain name, and that was the end of it.
Well, and the one thing too is that you said
my mom's gonna be watching this, man. You guys have dropped the F-bomb about 50 times, man. My mom's gonna be like,
oh, no. Our moms watch it too. My mom goes, I just watched you guys with Justin Moore. She goes, oh my God, so much fun. But you guys are he's dipping, he's drinking a fucking
Guinness.
He's dipping and drinking a Guinness without spitting.
Yeah, Justin didn't spit one time.
Do you like Justin Moore? He's a great guy.
Love him, man. I love him.
No, I think we got to give you a little bit of credit for saying, hey, fucking do it, man. Like,
because if we would have met you and you would have just said, hey, whatever. We've met country artists that have acted that way towards us throughout the process. You weren't one of those guys. And we were nothing. We were nothing when we met you. Like, back then, that was just an idea.
Well, man,
we got to thank you for that.
I appreciate you saying that, but you guys have done a really great job with being honest and telling people what you think. And sometimes it can be polarizing, as you guys know, and that's good and bad sometimes. But you're doing what you love, man, and you're helping people like me and other artists, like, you know, spread our voice, and I'm forever grateful for that, dude. And I'm happy and proud for you guys, and this is cool that we got to catch up today, because I was looking forward to it, man. I will tell you something that's pretty funny before I get out of here. I do have to go. Wes, I think it was Wes, I think, on Instagram that said, hey, let's get this podcast rolling. And I said, dude, absolutely. He goes, well, let me just reach out to your people or your management.
Yeah.
And so I said, dude, we don't need to reach out to my people. Let's just make a time. Okay.
Like Nashville.
So, full transparency though. Full transparency. I got a few other things going on, and I got a movie that I'm working on possibly. And I didn't realize I was supposed to have a Zoom call today with that guy at 3:00. same time as you guys. And today, Wes texted me on the golf course this morning, just making sure we're good for that 3 o'clock today. And I went, like, my first thought was, oh my God. I was like, my whole original idea was for the purpose of not confusing things and not having to go through like layers. And then I had to call my manager and go, hey, listen, man, I told him the story. I said, I already told them there was no need to go through layers. So this is totally my fault because I committed to you guys and somebody else at the same time, which is why the moral of this story is I should just let people handle this shit.
Yeah, that's why, dude. I told Steve, I go, dude, you wouldn't believe how cool Jake was. He goes, I love my people. My people are great.
Because we hate dealing with the team.
But we can just like, do this ourselves. And I'm like, okay, cool. So then today I'm like, I should probably shoot him a text just to make sure we're on. Because
you didn't remind me today for this text, or if you didn't remind me it was today, it wasn't that I would have forgot we were supposed to do the podcast. I forget what day it is sometimes, especially during
I do too at times. Like,
yeah. That's
like,
great. That's hilarious. Dude, we love you, man.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you guys and everything y'all have helped me accomplish, man. It means
I can't wait to hang out again, whether it's in Florida or Nashville or Chicago or Colorado, wherever the fuck we do it.
Yeah,
do it soon.
Shout out to our moms.
What'd you say?
I said shout out to our moms today.
Oh yeah, our moms too.
My mom, everybody's mom.
His mom's always like, "You guys are drinking too much."
Yeah, she's not a fan of it.
Moms are gonna be moms. They gotta look out after you. But
you were cursing earlier. I heard it. I
said a couple today. I was strategic.
You said a couple of shits.
Yeah, but I said I caught myself a couple times. I said BS instead of I'm trying to be better, man. I'm telling you that.
Well, curse word, who cares?
You got two daughters, you gotta.
Yeah, I got people that I gotta just set a better example, man.
If you like Gary Vaynerchuk, he has a great rant about why cursing doesn't matter. Let's go look it up.
I'll check it out. I love you guys. I gotta bounce. Lots of love to you.
I said love you guys. I'm talking to you, just you.
Thank you so much.
Talking to Wes in here.
Appreciate you guys.
See ya, dude. Love you, brother.
Yeah.